As I sit to share my story, the keyboard feels cold under my fingertips, each tap echoing the tumult in my heart. I am 39 years old, a number that once seemed a distant future, now a present filled with complexities I never foresaw. 17 years ago, I embarked on a journey of love and companionship with my spouse, a woman whose laughter used to light up the darkest corners of my soul. We crossed the threshold of marriage 14 years back, vowing to weather every storm our life. A tapestry of joy and challenges has been blessed with three beautiful children. Our eldest daughters, now 15 and 12, bring a vibrancy and energy to our home, their youthful dreams and aspirations a source of constant wonder. And then there's our little boy, 3 years old, a bundle of joy who has faced more challenges in his short life than many do in a lifetime due to his disability. His resilience is a daily inspiration, a reminder of the strength that lies in innocence. But not all stories tread a path of unending happiness. Shadows crept into our lives uninvited, casting long, dark silhouettes that now threaten to engulf our very existence. It began subtly, years ago, a seemingly innocent interaction with a colleague at work. We played a game of charm, an exchange of witty banter and fleeting smiles. In my heart, I knew it was a harmless dance of words, a momentary escape from the routines of life. Yet, in such moments, the lines between innocent fun and something more perilous can blur. There was nothing more to it, or so I believed. But the seeds of doubt, once sown, are hard to uproot. My wife, with her keen intuition, sensed the change. A month into this game, she confronted me, her eyes reflecting a storm of hurt and suspicion. She was convinced that my interactions had crossed the boundaries of our marriage. The trust we had nurtured over years trembled under the weight of her conviction that I had her with my colleague. The irony of fate is cruel, for as I grappled with her accusations, a secret lay buried in the shadows of our shared life. A secret that would, a month ago, come to light in the most heart-wrenching of ways, shattering the remnants of trust that had struggled to survive. I discovered that since the end of 2021, she had been entwined in the arms of another, a betrayal that spanned until June 2023, with a man who, like me, had pledged his life to another. The revelation tore through me, a searing pain that threatened to consume my very being. She confessed, her words a mix of remorse and desperation. She claimed her love for him had withered away, that she had awakened to the realization of how deeply I loved her and, in turn, recognized her own love for me. But her words, once a source of comfort, now felt like hollow echoes in a void of despair. For 20 months, she had crafted a world of lies. Each time I voiced my doubts, she looked into my eyes, eyes that once held nothing but love for her, and spoke of her undying love and fidelity. Yet, in the shadows of our life, she whispered the same declarations to her lover, in our very bedroom, a sanctuary of our love now tainted with betrayal. I stumbled upon her secret world, hidden within the confines of a Snapchat account. It was a window into a reality I never knew existed. Photos of him in stages of undress, images that seared into my memory, each one a betrayal. There were photos of his intimacy, his everyday life, and most painfully, images of him in the sanctity of my bedroom. Her dissection ran deeper. To him, she spun tales of a loveless marriage, of nights devoid of passion. Yet, the truth was far from this. We were still entwined in love each night, a reality she masked to maintain a facade in her dual life. I couldn't let the lie stand. It was essential to me that the truth be known, for our nightly embrace was real, even as her heart wandered. I confronted her, and in a moment of forced honesty, she admitted to her lover the reality she had so skillfully hidden. Today, I find myself in a labyrinth of emotions, turning in circles, seeking an exit that remains elusive. She professes her love for me, her desire not to lose what we have built. Yet she admits her inability to understand why she ventured down this path of betrayal. Her confession of that first physical encounter haunts me. A mere 10 days of conversation, and she had succumbed to him. In their first meeting, she crossed a line that now scars our history, a moment of infidelity that she tries to justify as a quest for a confidant, a misguided attempt to regain confidence. She assured me it was never about the physical attraction. Yet, the intimacy they shared, described in her reluctant confessions, paints a different picture. Her words, once a soothing balm, now feel like salt on an open wound. She sought comfort in his embrace, believing she would never see him again after their encounter. But the reality was different. She reached out to him again, the very same night, a contradiction that baffles and hurts me deeply. In this turmoil, I find myself lost, navigating a sea of emotions that threaten to engulf me. I love her more than anything in the world, and she claims to reciprocate these feelings, insisting that her heart no longer yearns for him. But the shadows of doubt and betrayal loom large, making it hard to see the light of truth. I grapple with feelings of being less than nothing, a mere pawn in her game of deception. The notion that she might still be manipulating me, treating me with disdain, gnaws at my soul. It's a bitter pill to swallow, this realization that the person I held in the highest esteem could betray me so callously. In this labyrinth of broken trust and shattered dreams, I seek solace in sharing my story. Perhaps there are others who have walked this path of heartache, who have felt the sting of betrayal or the guilt of infidelity. It is to these souls I reach out, hoping to find a semblance of understanding, a shared experience in this journey of love, loss, and the elusive quest for forgiveness. As the night deepens, the silence of my study weighs heavily around me. The screen's glow is the only light in the darkness, a beacon in my quest for clarity and peace. Here, in the quiet, I pour out my heart, seeking solace in the anonymity of the internet, a place where my story is just one among countless others, yet a story that is uniquely mine, a tapestry of love, betrayal, and the search for redemption. As dawn breaks, casting a soft light through the curtains of my study, I find myself lost in a sea of memories, each wave crashing against the shore of my present reality. The second chapter of this story begins, not with joyous fanfare, but with a quiet, haunting melody that speaks of forbidden dances and unintended consequences. It was a time when life seemed predictable, comfortably nestled in the routine of family and work. Yet, amidst the familiarity, a desire for something different, something thrilling, silently grew within me. It was during this phase that she entered my life a colleague, her presence at the office as ordinary as the files we shared and the coffee breaks we took. But there was something about her, an allure that, at first, I dismissed as a fleeting fancy. Our interactions were casual, the usual office banter that fills the hours between meetings and deadlines. Yet, as days turned to weeks, I found myself drawn to her vibrant personality, her laughter echoing in the corridors long after she had left. It was a game of charm we began to play, a dance of words and glances that seemed harmless. A joke here, a compliment there, the language of flirtation spoken in hushed tones and half smiles. In my heart, I believed it to be a harmless diversion, a brief respite from the ordinariness of life. There was an unspoken agreement that it was nothing more than playful interaction, or so I thought. I was blind to the thin line we were treading, unaware of the silent storm brewing in the horizon of my marriage. It was a mere month into this dangerous waltz when the music stopped abruptly. My wife, with her perceptive eyes, saw through the facade. One evening, as we sat in the quiet of our living room, the children asleep in the world outside at bay, she confronted me. Her voice was calm, but her eyes, those windows to her soul, betrayed a tempest of hurt and betrayal. She accused me of crossing a line, of betraying the sanctity of our marriage. In her eyes, my harmless game was a dagger to her heart. I tried to explain, to assure her that it was nothing, that she was the only one I loved. But the seed of doubt, once planted, is a relentless sprout. Her trust in me, once unshakable, now stood on a fragile foundation, shaken by my thoughtless actions. The irony of the situation was not lost on me. In seeking a momentary escape, I had unknowingly opened a door to a world of pain and mistrust. A door that, once opened, revealed the cracks in the facade of our seemingly perfect life. The truth was, our marriage was not immune to the wear and tear of time and routine. Beneath the surface of our daily interactions, unspoken resentments and unfulfilled desires simmered, waiting for a spark to ignite. In that moment of confrontation, I realized the gravity of my actions. The flirtation, trivial as it seemed, was a betrayal of the vows we had taken. It was a wake-up call, a realization that I had taken for granted the love and trust we had nurtured over the years. I vowed to make amends, to bridge the gap that my folly had created. But little did I know, the dance was far from over, and the music had only just begun to play a darker, more painful tune. In the weeks that followed, our home became a battleground of unspoken tensions and forced smiles. We were like two actors in a play, performing our roles as parents and partners, while the undercurrent of mistrust and hurt flowed beneath the surface. It was a delicate balancing act, one that required patience and understanding from both sides. Yet, in the midst of this turmoil, I remained oblivious to the storm that was brewing in her heart, a storm that would soon break the levees of our marriage, unleashing a flood of secrets and lies that would change the course of our lives forever. The days that followed were steeped in a silence that spoke louder than words. Each glance, each touch, seemed to echo with a question, "What now?" My heart ached with a guilt that was as heavy as the air in our home. Our conversations, once filled with laughter and plans for the future, had dwindled to mere necessities. The vibrant tapestry of our life together seemed to fade into shades of gray, the colors of trust and love washed away by the tide of doubt and suspicion. But life, as it does, continued its relentless march. Our children, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in their parents' world, continued to fill our home with their laughter and innocent chatter. They were a balm to our wounded hearts, their presence a reminder of the love that had once been the cornerstone of our marriage. In the midst of this strange tranquility, my wife carried a burden I was yet to understand. Her smiles were fewer, her eyes often lost in a distant thought. It was as if she was fighting a battle within, a struggle she kept hidden behind a veil of normalcy. Little did I know, her heart harbored a secret, one that would soon shatter the fragile peace we had managed to uphold. The revelation came on an ordinary evening, the kind that had become our new normal. The children were in bed, and the house was wrapped in the stillness of the night. It was then, amidst the quiet, that she spoke the words that would change everything. She had been unfaithful. The confession struck me like a bolt of lightning, searing through my heart with a pain so acute it was almost physical. Since the end of 2021, she had been in the arms of another man, a man who, like me, had a family of his own. The affair had spanned over a year and a half, a secret life she had led while I remained oblivious, consumed by my own guilt and efforts to mend our strained relationship. The room spun around me as she continued, her voice a mere whisper. She spoke of the end of the affair, which had concluded just a few months prior. Her words were laced with regret and confusion. She assured me that her feelings for him had dissipated, that she had come to realize the depth of my love for her, and in turn, recognize the love she still held for me. But her confession was a labyrinth of contradictions. She spoke of love, yet her actions spoke of betrayal. She talked of realizing my love, but only after seeking solace in another's embrace. The woman I had loved for nearly 2 decades, the mother of my children, had become a stranger, her heart a land I could no longer navigate. For 20 months, she had woven a tapestry of lies, each thread a betrayal of the life we had built together. I recalled the times I had expressed my doubts, my fears of losing her. Each time, she had reassured me, looking into my eyes with a conviction that now seemed like the greatest act of deception. She had pledged her love to me, even as she whispered the same promises to another in the shadows of our very home. The images she shared next were like daggers to my soul. Her secret Snapchat account, a hidden window into her affair, revealed photos and messages that painted a vivid picture of her betrayal. There were images of him, some intimately explicit, others capturing moments of their everyday interactions. The most painful were the ones taken in our bedroom, the sacred space of our marriage defiled by her infidelity. Her deception extended beyond the emotional and physical betrayal. To him, she had painted a picture of a loveless marriage, a narrative far from the truth. Our nights were still intertwined with passion, a fact she chose to conceal to maintain the facade of her double life. Confronted with this web of lies, I was compelled to seek the truth. The reality of our intimate life, contrary to her tales to him, needed to be acknowledged. In a moment of forced honesty, she admitted the truth to her lover, tearing down the illusion she had so carefully crafted. As I sat there, listening to her confession, I felt a profound sense of loss. The woman I thought I knew, the life we had built, all seemed like a mirage, dissipating before my very eyes. The future, once a canvas of shared dreams and possibilities, now loomed before me as an unfathomable abyss. In this whirlwind of emotions, I found myself at a crossroads. Her reassurances of love, her expressions of regret, all seemed to fade into the background, overshadowed by the magnitude of her betrayal. My love for her, a flame that had burned steadily for years, now flickered in the winds of doubt and hurt. As the night deepened, I grappled with the reality of our shattered relationship. The path ahead was unclear, shrouded in the fog of pain and uncertainty. In the quiet of the night, I found myself questioning everything: our past, our love, and the very foundation of our marriage. The journey ahead seemed daunting, a trek through the wilderness of broken trust and shattered dreams. In the days that followed, our home became a shell of its former self, a space where smiles were as rare as a calm sea in a storm. The revelation of my wife's affair hung over us like a dark cloud, its shadow touching every corner of our lives. The laughter of our children, once a source of pure joy, now echoed with a tinge of sorrow, a reminder of the innocence we were desperately trying to protect. The image of her with another man invaded my thoughts, a relentless assault on my peace of mind. The intimacy they shared, detailed in her reluctant confession, painted a picture too painful to bear. She spoke of their first encounter, a mere 10 days of conversation culminating in a moment of physical betrayal. Her explanation, a search for a confidant, a misguided attempt to regain self-confidence, did little to soothe the sting of her actions. Her words, once a melody that filled our home, now felt like a discordant note, out of tune with the harmony we once shared. She assured me it was never about physical attraction, yet the intimacy they shared belied her words. She had crossed a line from which there was no return, and in doing so, had changed the fabric of our relationship forever. I wrestled with a myriad of emotions, each one more overwhelming than the last. Love, anger, betrayal, and despair mingled in a tumultuous storm within me. I loved her more than anything in the world, and she claimed to reciprocate these feelings. Yet, how could I reconcile this love with the betrayal that now stood between us? The feelings of being insignificant, of being a mere pawn in her game of dissection, gnawed at my soul. The notion that she might still be manipulating me, treating me as a fool, was a bitter pill to swallow. The trust we had built over nearly 2 decades had been shattered, leaving me to question everything I thought I knew about her, about us. In the midst of this chaos, I found myself reaching out for answers, for experiences similar to mine. Perhaps in the stories of others, in their journeys through the pain of betrayal and the struggle for forgiveness, I could find a semblance of understanding, a guide to navigate this uncharted territory. The house, once filled with the warmth of our love, now felt cold, the walls echoing with the unsaid, the air heavy with the weight of our unshed tears. We moved around each other like ghosts, each lost in our own world of pain and confusion. As I lay in bed each night, staring at the ceiling, the silence around me was deafening. The questions that haunted me during the day followed me into the darkness of the night. What did the future hold for us? Could we ever find our way back to each other? Or had the chasm created by her betrayal grown too wide to bridge? The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with the debris of broken promises and shattered dreams. Yet, in the depths of my despair, a flicker of hope remained. A hope that perhaps, through the pain and the heartache, we could find a way to rebuild, to forge a new path from the ashes of our old life. But for now, I was lost, a ship adrift in a stormy sea, searching for a beacon to guide me home. As the days turned into weeks, the initial shock of my wife's confession began to settle into a deep, aching sorrow. Our house, once a haven of love and laughter, had become a stage where we played our roles as parents and partners, all the while nursing our private wounds. The children, ever perceptive, sensed the change in the air. They tiptoed around our sadness, their innocent eyes filled with questions they were too afraid to ask. It pained me to see them caught in the crossfire of our turmoil, and I made a silent vow to shield them from the storm as much as I could. In my quest for understanding, I turned to those who had walked a similar path. I sought out forums and support groups, places where strangers shared their stories of betrayal and heartache. Each story was a mirror reflecting my own pain, and yet, in their experiences, I found a strange comfort. There was solace in knowing that I was not alone in this journey, that others had navigated these treacherous waters and found their way to the other side, whether that meant reconciliation or parting ways. My wife, for her part, seemed to be grappling with her own demons. She fluctuated between expressions of remorse and moments of withdrawal. There were times when she reached out, her words a tentative bridge trying to span the chasm between us. Yet, there were also moments when she retreated into a shell, her eyes a well of unspoken thoughts and feelings. Our conversations, when they happened, were a delicate dance around the core issues. We talked about the children, about mundane household matters, but the elephant in the room remained untouched. The affair, her reasons for straying, my own role in the unraveling of our marriage, these topics were like live wires, too charged to handle. In my heart, a battle raged between the love I still felt for her and the hurt that her betrayal had inflicted. The images of her with another man haunted my thoughts, a relentless reminder of the trust that had been broken. And yet, amidst the anger and the pain, there was a part of me that still yearned for the woman I had fallen in love with, the partner with whom I had built a life. The irony of it all was not lost on me. I, who had once flirted with danger, now found myself on the other side of the fence, nursing the wounds of a much deeper betrayal. It was a sobering realization, one that forced me to confront my own imperfections and the ways in which I had contributed to the fissures in our marriage. As the weeks turned into months, I realized that the journey ahead was not just about dealing with her infidelity. It was also about introspection, about understanding the dynamics of our relationship, and about deciding whether the foundation we had built was strong enough to withstand this storm. Our home had become a reflection of our inner turmoil, a place where love and pain coexisted in uneasy silence. The future, once a well-defined path, had become a maze of possibilities, each turn leading to unknown outcomes. In this uncertainty, I clung to the hope that through honest communication, through understanding and forgiveness, we might find a way to heal. Whether that meant rebuilding our life together or finding peace and going our separate ways, only time would tell. But for now, I was a man adrift, searching for a beacon of hope in the fog of betrayal and heartache. The journey of the past few months had been like navigating through a dense fog, each step uncertain, each breath heavy with the weight of unspoken words and unresolved feelings. The house that once rang with the music of our family's laughter now whispered with the echoes of our pain and confusion. In this final chapter of my tale, I stand at a crossroad, a point where decisions must be made, paths chosen. The reality of our fractured marriage lay before me, a puzzle whose pieces no longer seemed to fit as they once did. My wife, a woman I had loved with every fiber of my being, now appeared as a complex enigma. Her confessions, laced with remorse and regret, were like threads attempting to mend the torn fabric of our trust. Yet, the scars of her betrayal remained, deep and raw, challenging the very essence of my forgiveness. The journey had forced me to confront the depths of my own emotions. The love I felt for her was now entwined with a sense of betrayal, each memory tainted by the revelation of her affair. I grappled with the haunting images of her infidelity, struggling to reconcile them with the life we had shared. Our conversations had slowly evolved, no longer just skirting the surface, but delving into the deeper, more painful realms of our hearts. We spoke of our fears, our desires, and the myriad ways in which we had both faltered in nurturing our bond. These talks were not easy. They were laced with pain, tears, and sometimes silence that spoke louder than words. I realized that healing was not a destination but a journey. It was about coming to terms with the past, accepting the imperfections in ourselves and each other, and deciding whether our love was resilient enough to weather this storm. Amidst this turmoil, our children remained our anchor, their innocence a constant reminder of the love that had once been the foundation of our marriage. Protecting them from the brunt of our issues was a priority, even as we navigated the complexities of our relationship. As I reflect on the path ahead, I am acutely aware that the choice I make will not only affect me but also the lives of those I hold dear. The options lay before me to rebuild from the ruins of our shattered trust, or to embark on separate journeys in search of individual peace and fulfillment. This crossroad is not just about deciding the fate of our marriage. It is about understanding the transformative power of forgiveness, whether it leads to reconciliation or a respectful parting. It is about recognizing that sometimes love alone is not enough to heal the wounds of betrayal, and that sometimes letting go is an act of love too. In this moment of introspection, I find myself seeking guidance not just from others, but from within. The answers, I know, lie in the depths of my heart, in the quiet whispers of my soul. As I stand at this crossroad, the future remains a canvas of uncertainty, but I am ready to take the first step, armed with the lessons learned from this journey of love, betrayal, and the quest for forgiveness.